Welcome to Merry Married Meeples. I am Brad.
And Bryde.
And we are doing a film, recording, YouTube video, content, various other forms of terminology for these types of things of our greatest games that we feel of all time. People do 5s, people do 10s. We're Rebels and we're going to do 13. So these are our top 13 games that we view as our greatest games of all time. Of course, opinions will be expressed, opinions we had, and they probably will not match yours. But stay tuned for our top 13.
So for my number 13 game, I picked Dream Home by Rebel. Now the thing I like most about this is everybody has these little boards, and then it's basically you lay out the little cards here, and then you have to build your home using these little cards to put in the rooms. I just like it because I like I like collecting the cards, and I was always the type that I liked to play Sims or Sims 2, so I like to build the houses, and I like to design the houses and the rooms and everything else. So this kind of gives me a chance to build a house in the rooms and put it how you like it.
Another nice thing about this game is how each room, it's the bedroom. Not all bedrooms are going to look the same. They have a nice different selection, so your house actually feels like it's your own house.
So that is my 13, Dream Home by Rebel.
My number 13 is a goofy little party game. Most gamers are not a fan, but I love it. Flux. I like the pure chaos and the madness that happens with it. Like, it can go around between 3 people and you're not even almost playing the same game as them. The other thing I like is, so if regular Flux gets boring, you then can do Holiday Flux. You can do Nature. You can do Drinking, which these cards are nice and waterproof, and there's actually a drinking game that you can do with it. There's Fire Flux. There's Math Flux, which actually will teach you stuff because there's like prime numbers. That could be your goal, is get prime numbers or have these numbers up to create this number. So it actually has some educational effect. If you want to stick with the base game but add madness to that, you have Flux Dice, Astronomy Flux, Zombie Flux, Martian Flux, Pirate Flux, Monster Flux, and Fantasy Flux. And this is just a small collection. They have Marvel, they have Batman, they have multiple Star Treks, and then bridge back so you can combine the Star Treks. If you really want to get crazy, you can just make a huge deck. That's going to go a lot longer, though, because it'll be hard to find keepers and match goals. But I just like it because it can be anywhere from 5 minutes to a half hour, but it's just a lot of fun, just a fun little filler just to mess around with. You have anything for Flux?
Nope. So my number 12 favorite game is Imperial Settlers Empires of the North. And what I really like about it is that it comes with, the base game comes with 6 of the different little factions, and you get all these cards. You can play them, and each faction is different. Some are more difficult than the others. But you're basically going around, you are collecting these little components up here. Can't see. They come in a nice little tray. But you've got the component or the resources that you're trying to collect so that you can build your cards, and then each card has an action that you can do, or it has where you can grab one of the resources. So, and that's what I like to collect things, resources, cards.
And turn them into other stuff, points.
Yes, I love doing that. So that is mine. My number 12, Empires of the North. And Empires of the North is
from Portal Games. My number 12 is Meadow from Rebel Studios. It's one of the many nature games that have been coming out soon, but what I like about this game is the amount of different actions you can do. You have the nice double layered board that's sideways, but you put your little tokens here to collect different cards, and when you get the different cards, you put them out, and then you can kind of build a chain from them. Like this animal needs this symbol. Well, when you put that on top of there, you get rid of that symbol, and now you have a new symbol that you can then chain off of that and just get points. And it's a lot of fun to try and find those high scoring chains, put stuff together properly, and just build out your tableau, if you will. So my number 12 is Meadow. By Rebel Studios. I said that already. Yeah, Rebel Studio.
They're the same ones that did my
Dream Home.
Dream Home.
So, like I said, a lot of fun. Really good components. Your cards come in the nice little trays that fit into the board on the other side here in the openings. So, and they come with little envelopes that you're supposed to open on specific days, like first day of spring when you see a large animal, those fun stuff like that. And they just add little fun cards and mechanisms. So number 12, Meadow.
So my number 11 is Nidavellir, and the reason that I like it is because it is a card collecting game, and you get to collect the cards, and each card has a different scoring mechanism and way you score. Plus, it comes with this really, really cool treasure chest with all these coins in them, which they come in here. They just sit right here. So then when you go through, by collecting the cards, you're able to take these and you can change the numbers on them, and then you can turn them in for higher numbers. So like the 5 and the 4, if you turn these in, you can turn it in for a 9. Or then once you get up higher and higher, then you can turn in, it goes all the way up to 25. So if you have like a 14 and a 6, well then you would turn one of those in for a 20. And then that's who determines who goes turn order. So I think that's really cool. And like I said, I just like collecting cards and collecting items, and as you can maybe have noticed with my top, so far top 3. So, but that is mine. My number 11 is Nidavellir. There we go.
My number 11 is Fantasy Realms. A fun little card game that's got tons of different scoring opportunities, and cards interact with cards a different way. And then if you have this card may stop that card. Like if you have the flood, then your fires aren't going to work unless it's a really big fire, and then that's going to work well with it. And you just have all of these different cards that interact. And so the game does come with a scoring pad. However, there is a website app out there that allows you to score, and that is much needed in this game. Otherwise, you can get confused. Like, oh wait, did this get blinked or did that get blinked? And the app just takes care of it all for you. I mean, app's not necessary, but it definitely makes life easier. And then they did just recently release a Marvel reskin of this that we have yet to get our hands on. And I'm sure once we do, we will like just as much, because it's just fun to look at the cards and try and figure out how to manipulate your hand and the different items you have to get the highest score possible. So my number 11, Fantasy Realms by WizKids.
So my number 10 game is Oh My Goods. And this is a card game. Totally complete card game. There is nothing else. But you are using cards as money. And once you collect the cards, again with the collecting, you collect the cards and then you can use those cards to buy other cards. You can either make things, let's see, you can use cards to make things, and those things can then be turned into other things for different amounts. Like here, for the cattle ranch, you would need to have, over here on the side, you would need to have 2 cotton and 2 clay or brick, it looks like. And then if you have that, then you can make a cow. I don't know how that happens, but it makes a cow. And then each cow card is going to be worth 3 money. So there's different amounts that each card is worth. But you, like I said, you collect the cards. Those are the money. And then they do have a couple of expansions, because this is just straight game, back and forth. Then you have the expansion, the
Longsdale and Revolt.
that one, which adds like a story mode to it. And then once you finish this one, because you are in the revolt, then you have to escape to Canyon Brook. So it just continues the story and the play. But I like it because, like I said, you can collect cards to make money, to spend, to get more cards, to make more money, to spend.
I know you also like the kind of the chaining, because like you said, you make a cow, but then later on you might have a card where you can turn that cow and other cards into something else here, and then you can just keep chaining down.
Yeah.
You like that part too, where it just cascades through. And
Yeah. So it's always like, okay, I did this, and now this one and this card can make this, and then this gives me that. So, yeah. Oh my goods.
All right, my number 10. Yes, 10. Underwater Cities. Underwater Cities from Delicious Games and Rio Grande Games. So this is a beast of a game at times. You are building an underwater city by collecting resources, and you're playing cards around the board. Or you're choosing an action around the board and then playing a card with it. And if your card matches the action you do, then you trigger the card. And that allows you to do stuff. And just the amount of stuff in this box, components. There's so many components. That's just those. And then you have cards upon cards upon cards. And the component quality too, you have these nice little things. And then you have the domes. And you have more cards, and more cards, and more cards. So you can't see it, but that was a lot of stuff that just came out of that box. And I still have all of the boards in here. Because this does have the expansion in it. And the expansion, they got really nice and gave you triple layer boards, because they're double-sided and you get different bonuses based on where you go. I really like the whole managing your hand to match the colors, do as many actions as you can. Resources are definitely at a premium in this game, so trying to maximize getting the resources to be able to build your domes, to just get your cities and your workers out there, and then making sure to get enough food. If you don't have enough food, it costs you in the end. So a lot of mechanisms, a lot of stuff going on, and it's one that after you play, you start seeing how the gears work and how you want to do this to lead into this, and it takes a while to really sink in, but once it does, you get how to maneuver things. So number 10, underwater cities.
So many cards. So my number 9 game is Wingspan. And Wingspan is all about the birdies. So it's by Stonemeyer Games, and is the publisher. And what was her name?
Elizabeth Hargrave.
Yeah, she did the.
I'm bad with names. I know it's Elizabeth Hargrave. Hargrave.
But what I really like about this is the art. On each cards, all the cards, they have different birds. So, I mean, I guess they're not really art. Oh yeah.
You know, they're all hand drawn.
Yeah, so they're all hand drawn. It's really cool. But each card, and it's really cool because each card has a fact about the bird. So, like your red-backed fairy wren. It is. There you go.
These birds have been used to study the role that testosterone plays in breeding plumage.
So it's kind of neat. It's little facts there. But what you're doing is, once again, you are collecting resources. This really cool tower, the dice tower, and it comes with these wooden dice, and you just roll them down here. So on each dice, or each die, it has a different picture, different resource, and you collect the resources so that you can buy the cards, and then you lay the cards out, and it's one where they line up, and then once you activate the last one, then you go back, and each card activates backwards. So, and then you can get cards, you can pick up, or you can put on each card, these cool wooden eggs. Woo! That one's good. There we go. And then some of the bonuses have bonuses, and some of the bonuses at the end require you to have said eggs on a card. So you can do it that way and turn things in. And what I really, really like I said, the card, the art, but the rule books, like this one here, the appendix, actually, wait, no, it's not this. There's actually a book in here that actually...
Pretty sure it was the appendix.
There's the appendix that actually has all the birds and the info on the birds. No, this is powers.
Is it the one or that other one you just brought out there?
Let's see, oceanic expansion. So yes, this is an engine building game. But there is actually a booklet that has all of the birds that are in here.
Yeah, I think it's this one with like all the bird powers. They listed through here, and they have all the names.
So, and all of the rule books and all of these are off. It's all the nice linen paper. So these are really cool. So, that is my number 9, which is Wingspan.
So my number 9 is another big game big thinky game, relatively newer, and that is Arc Nova from Capstone Games. This is your building a zoo, and just the amount of cards. I'm just going to move that out of the way, how massive it is. Cards. This game is known for the amount of cards it has. And so you're playing cards and you're doing your actions in different. Your actions will move around and over to make them more powerful the longer you wait till you do them. And you're using those to get partner zoos, to make animals cheaper to build, to get money, to buy enclosures to be able to house said animals all around your zoo. And the amount of content in here, not just the cards, but it comes with different maps that you can play, so it's not always going to just be the same map. And the maps do have different powers on them. Like this one, if you put here, you'll get something else, or you'll get bonuses if you're on the edge of the maps. So, and then beyond all the components, there's the board. They also gave you nice component trays to keep everything organized and just set these out on the table and go. Like here is all the different types of enclosures and some of the bonus tokens. So this is just one of those ones that you'll go through, then all of a sudden you just might have this epic turn where I played this, which pushed me up on this track, which then lets me go forward on this track, which lets me unlock this person, which also lets me move here. So they're not all like that, but when you can hit one of those turns where it feels like you just took 5 actions at once, that's the feeling I love in this game. Is just the random moment where it's like, holy cow, what I just planned worked well, and I planned it so I can just do all these actions. So it's maximizing the actions and just going through the game like that. So my number 9, Arc Nova from Capstone Games.
So my number 8 game is Azul, Stained Glasses of Sintra. And what I like about it is these cool tiles that are the stained glass. And basically what you're doing is you have, each person has their own little face like this, and then those fit up there, just like that. And on each one of these is a different, pattern that you have to grab and fill up with said tiles. And what you have, put them all here inside of the baggie. Oops, upside down. Inside of the bag, you pull them out. You put them on the discs that are all in the middle. So you'll do like 3 here. Maybe you'll do 3 here. Oops, sorry. So you'll do just like that, and just like that. So then it's kind of a metallic style. There we go. So, say here, this one here. I need an orange, a pink, a yellow, and then 2 white. So, we take this, and so we need the yellow, so I'll take this one, and then these will go in the middle, and then the next person will draft, and those will go in the middle, and so you can fill up you can fill them all up like that. So, and that's what I like about this game.
So again with you, more collecting pretty transparent gems to make pretty windows.
There, very pretty.
So my number 8. Hey, Bryde. Repeat. We're in a canoe. He fell out of his left.
Need a believer.
Exactly. So we have our a crossover. Nidavellir.
First crossover.
So, she already kind of mentioned it. What I like about Nidavellir is, so it's the drafting game, like she said. You have the different taverns. You go from tavern to tavern by putting the coins in, and then whoever has the highest coin picks the dwarf first to put into their area. They're basically recruiting them. I like trying to play the coin game with which coins am I going to put where, based on I don't care if I get anyone from there or who I get. So I'll put my lesser coin there and try to outthink your opponent in that regard. So, well, they really want someone there. So they're probably going to put their highest one, so I'm not going to even try for that one then. Instead, I'll go for something else. And the fact that once you get one of each color, you get these extra heroes, and the heroes give you bonuses, and they all score a different way. Like there's a set of brothers that if you get a bunch of them, you get lots of points. But then that needs to be your focus. You need to be getting those sets, and you can't go and grab some other ones that may give you more points, and you're really hoping you're going to be able to complete enough sets to be able to get those guys. So it's just that whole trying to think a few steps ahead, trying to ramp up your coins. How do you want to score it? How do you want to grab it? So that's what I really like about Nidavellir. So apparently you like it. I just like it better.
Yeah.
So.
I just like collecting the cards. So my 7th favorite game is Cryptid Cafe. It's a new game that just came out, but I like it because if anybody has ever played the apps like
Diner
Dash, Cafe, I can't think of the cafe one, but where you have to hurry up and get the orders, make the orders, serve the orders to the customers before they leave, and you'll get the point or get money for it. That's kind of what this game is. And I like playing those games, so that's what here. So each one, it's based on different cryptids, like the Jackalope, Grafton Monster, Chupacabra, Yeti, Nessie, Loch Ness Monster, the Snallygaster, Thunderbird, Mothman, Jersey Devil. So each one, you've got these cards, and each one has certain things, food items that they want, that you have to fulfill before they leave. Down at the bottom, you have to, you will have one of these here, and this, the card starts here, and each round, it'll go down and down and down until it gets down here. If you haven't fulfilled the order, then they leave. And then it's either negative points or it's no points. So you have that certain amount of time that you have to hurry up and do these. So that's what I really like, is that you have that rush, that oh my gosh, I gotta hurry up, I gotta get these done, I gotta get this and this and this. And so that's why I like this game. And I like the components. These were actually the deluxe.
The Kickstarter deluxe version of the game came with different cryptids instead of just the regular Sasquatches. So you got to have a whole serving crew of the different cryptid monsters. We have nice wooden tokens for everything. So the Kickstarter production of this is actually really well made, and it's not needed to enjoy the theme, but it definitely doesn't hurt it. It gives that nice feel.
Right. So that's my number 7.
Monsters!
Is Cryptid Cafe.
Alright, so my number 7. So this is a big box because this is the Kickstarter big box craziness that is Role Player. So this has all the expansions in it and all that fun stuff. So I grew up role-playing D&D, White Wolf, all the different role-playing games. Role Player is, let's make a D&D character as a game. So you're rolling all these different colored dice, which I'll get to them eventually because there's so much stuff. You have a big old bag of dice, and you'll be rolling them. You have all these different colors, and you have basically a character sheet that you'll be placing these dice on, and you're going to have a class and a background and all these various things that you need to try and fulfill to get points at the end of the game by matching the colors of the dice or the scores of the dice with your strength, your dex, con, all the traits you'd be used to in a D&D game. So even if you're not into D&D, you can enjoy it because really it's almost like a puzzly game too. You're rolling the dice to try and maximize where you put the things, what colors go where, what numbers go where. You have abilities that helps mitigate the way the dice are rolled. You get equipment that'll make your dice better or worse or allow you to do various things. Like I said, it harkens back to that D&D, but also I love chucking dice, so just being able to build a character while rolling dice is just phenomenal. And like I said, the Kickstarters, all the expansions just add content upon content. This entire box is jammed full with coins and new races you can be, new classes. They came out with, you can have familiars. So you can have like pets that go around with you and you add dice to them. They have fiends, they have monsters you can fight. Then they have a big battle at the end. And then unfortunately we haven't gotten to play it yet, but they came out with Role Player Adventures, which is, guess what, now you can use these characters and go on adventures as if you're in a D&D game or a role-playing game. And they have the epic stories you can play with that. So my number 7, Role Player.
Lucky number 7. My number 6 favorite game is Ticket to Ride. And that is because I love collecting the cards to try and make the routes. And make the longest routes. But my favorite part is just collecting the cards. Which I've been told that I hoard cards when I play, which I don't. I just like to make sure that I have the cards I need to make the routes.
This is one of the first ones I think we really got you. It's one of the most gateway type of games, I think. But I know I personally originally grabbed it for you because how much you love to travel. I'm like, look, it's the map of the U.S. and you can pretend you can travel.
Yes, and I've actually been to quite a few of the places that are on here. I think almost maybe 90% of them. So it's kind of cool. It's like, I've been there, I've been there, I've been there.
Yeah, this is definitely an evergreen game and a staple for a reason. It's
Yes.
nice and scales well.
I mean, we have the other ones, and we've played the other expansions, and we've got the smaller ones, like Ticket to Ride New York, the kid one. I really like the original.
It's easier to find the cities too. If you haven't been to the UK or like Germany, when it's like this city, you're like, I'm just gonna try and look all over the map. And I know the cards kind of show it, but still, it's a little hard sometimes. But like this, it's like, hey, I know where that is in the US. I'll look that way.
So yes, my number 6, Ticket to Ride.
All right, my number 6 might show up on Bryde's list as her number 1. Catherine, the Cities of this Arena from Capstone Games. This is the newest game on my list.
Yes.
So very rarely have I ever had a game where I knew nothing about, and all of a sudden I saw like one Twitter post about it, like, oh, this didn't make it to Gen Con. This was what I'm most looking forward to. I'm like, all right, I'll take a look at it on the website, see what it is. And it talked about multi-use cards, something, got it in the mail, played it that night, and then it just clicked. We played it again, and it's just one that I just enjoy going back to and back to. Basically, you're playing a card in a action row, and then you're going to play a card in the activation row. And if the colors match, you do the action, and if there's a bonus, you do the bonus action. But there's various different things you can do. You can put out residences in cities, and by doing that, you're collecting goods to fulfill an order for end-of-game points. you are drawing cards. If you're hand limit, you draw cards, you get points. There's a fame track. When you go up, it increases your hand limit and how you get points at the end of decades. Well, if you get to the top of that and you keep going, you get points. So you can really focus on one area if you want and just drive up those points. And just the different ways of doing those things, looking at the different actions. It's just a very smooth gameplay. It's quickly draw 2 cards, play 2 cards, do the action, draw that, do that 3 decades. At the end of the 3rd decade, final game scoring, done. It is a game that we've played literally in 35 minutes, and the amount of game that's in that time is just substantial to me.
I don't like it.
Unfortunately, it's one of those games that clicks with me, but not quite with Bryde. So the scores are never usually close, and that's
No.
so. But it is very enjoyable. The pieces, I mean, it's your typical colors, but just they're nice. They're big houses. There's the cards are very self-explanatory. There's just something about it that as I play it, just the planning and all that just really makes me enjoy it. Like I said, I was thinking about halfway through the first game, I look at him like, I really like this game, and it just kept getting better from there. As you can see, it's number 6, and we've had it for like 2 weeks.
No, I thought it was more like a week.
Yeah, like between a week and 2 weeks. Like, yeah, we have not had it long, and yes, it scratches an itch. I don't know where it is. So, my number 6, Catherine, Cities of the Tsarina.
So my number 5 is Terraforming Mars. And what I like about it is that you are collecting resources, which are little cubes, to try and pay for cards that you can put out that allows you to raise up the temperature on Mars or raise up the oxygen level on Mars, because essentially what you want to do is you want to terraform Mars so that you can have life on Mars. So as you're playing, that's what you're trying to do. As you're trying to, like I said, raise up the temperature, raise up the oxygen, plant trees, oceans, things like that. Well, you don't plant oceans, but put those out, but so that you can live on Mars. And I just like collecting the coins, or collecting the cubes to turn in for the cards, to turn in for the
Parameters,
the raising. So that is mine.
My number 5, again, huge box. Oh, we have Dwellings of Eldervale by Breaking Games. So this game is just produced. Look, you take up the entire screen. It's just produced fantastically. And the gameplay, it's one of those games that has something for everyone. You're placing workers out on tiles to collect resources. You're eventually going to be able to put out new tiles. You're getting cards that you can play to help do stuff. There's different factions. There's the cards. There's the resources. Then you come in through here. Each faction, and like the green, has 2 factions. So each one has 2. And there are these huge epic monster minis that you actually, at some point, there's certain cards that you can get and play that you can control these monsters. And just be able to grab and control a monster and put a big old monster token down. And then buried in this box, there are actually sound bases. You can put the monsters on the sound base, turn it on. When you put it down, it roars at you. It's just so immersive. And it's just, pick an avenue, go for it, and see how you can do it. Your little worker meeples here, you make them into dwellings so that you have the little housetops. They fit on top of the meeples because you no longer use that worker. And it's just the production quality the gameplay, the way everything just flows together nice. The iconography is great. It's just one of those games. I like the games where there's a bunch of different avenues of stuff you can do. And you can either tinker in all of it or you can just go headlong into one way. And also, if you ever get the card, the control a monster, you find a way of making that happen. You are going to control a monster. Because, I mean, come on, just popping down Tentacle Man, nothing better. So, number 5, Dwellings of Eldervale.
My number 4 is Mansions of Madness. And I really like this game because I like the theme. I'm really, really intrigued and I really like that type of theme. The
Supernatural more so than the horror, but yeah, definitely
Yeah.
supernatural, the creatures.
the Mansions of Madness, Arkham Horror, Elder Signs, like that whole, yeah, J.P. Lovecraft.
HP.
HP. Sorry. H.P. Lovecraft. The kind of like that. And I love playing this one because you not only do you use cards and dice and pieces like this and everything else, but you use an app also, and that will help move along the story. And it actually has the sound effects, and it has the
Different voices and people getting into it, and really,
Yes.
it helps become very immersed in it as opposed to just figures and cards and map tiles.
Yes, it becomes real. So, but yes, this is my number 4. I'm sorry. Yes,
Yep.
number 4 is Mansions of Madness.
So my number 4, you may have seen before, and then one number ago. So my number 4 is Terraforming Mars. So for a lot of the reasons that Bryce said, I like it too. So obviously, with it being one of our favorite games jointly, we got this Kickstarter edition. You may be able to buy it retail. I don't know, because we backed the Kickstarter from Stronghold Games. It's got all the minis. It's got great components now. It's got little trays for everything. But like her, I like collecting the stuff. I like building up the resources. But I also like building up the chains of cards. Like, I'm going to use this card's ability to make this microbe. And I'm going to use this microbe to do this. And I'm going to use this to do that. And just getting that whole engine building aspect of it going, where you have the card, then that card will help make this card work better, and this will make that card work better. And I'm going to play this because by doing this, I get to choose these 3 things and then go from there. I really like that aspect of it. I will say, we don't like doing the take that version, so if it says you may destroy 3 planets, very rarely do we do. We like to play a nice version of Terraforming Mars. So, we have both played the card game. I think we both just like the expansiveness of this better. We do enjoy the card game, but just being able to have the full map in front of you with all the tiles, just the longer gameplay, you just feel more immersed. But the card game is a good alternative if you don't want to have the huge sprawling mess on the table. So, but yes, Terraforming Mars, my number 4.
My number 3 game is Escalation. And compared to all the other ones that have come before it seems relatively little. But it's a card game. And what I like about it, aside from the fact that I always seem to do pretty good at this game, is it's a card game. Like I said before, I really, really like card games. But you can play, and I think this is about the only time that we ever do, like, kind of take that-ish kind of. I don't even know if it'd be considered take that.
Maybe
but
slightly, but not really. It's
yeah, what you do is you have you have a hand of cards, and so you're just going back and forth, and you're putting out the cards. This one is a number 2, so you have to come up with one that's a higher number. Number 5. So then the next player has to come up with a higher number. And sometimes you may not have like a 5 or a 6 or 7, something like that. But you have 2 5s. So you can take the 2 5s, and that would be 10. So then the next player would have to come up with 11 or more. Sometimes, if you really want to, you can even be really, really mean, and you can pull out like 26. So then they have to come up with 26, and I believe it's 3 is the highest. You can only do 3 cards or 4 cards.
I think you just keep going if you have that many.
Okay.
Or there is a card in there that lets you just copy the number and just go back. So they play the 26, you play this card down, it's like, all right, it's back to 26, right back at you.
Right.
There's very few of those. There's only, I think, 2 or 3 of those in the deck, but when they come out, it's annoying. That's typically what, somehow Bryde always seems to get them.
So, and those are, and the whole object is to get rid of all your cards. You want to have the lowest number and get rid of your cards.
I'll take the fewest cards.
Well, you want
it's a deck. It's a starting. You start with the deck, and you draw, and then when someone can't play it, they take the pile. Then whoever has the most cards in their pile.
Right, but the other player wants to get rid of all their cards. So, yeah. So that's mine. It's a quick little game. Maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, and we've played that a couple of times. We've been out for breakfast as we're waiting for the food. We'll just plop that down and play a game or 2 of it.
Yeah. So.
I think that's another one we got. Probably your first Gen Con. It was like $2 or $5 somewhere clearance, and we're like, hey, we'll play a little card game, and it's had staying power for like 10 years now almost.
Yeah.
Since that Gen Con went through.
Yeah. So.
Alrighty.
But yep, number 3, escalation.
My number 3, again, is a repeat with Bryde, but I like it more. That is Empires of the North from Portal Games. So what I enjoy about this one is the fact that you do have all the different clans, and each clan plays differently. So it's figuring out the strategy. How does this clan work better than the other clan? How does this clan stack up against the other one? Like there's a clan that can mimic the abilities of other ones, but only certain buildings. So if I'm playing a clan that doesn't have many of those buildings, then that kind of negates a good portion of that clan. So it's learning to push and pull. When do I produce? Because there's a little thing in the middle where you put out a token that lets you produce or put out ships to explore islands. So again, it's one of those ones of how do you want to go about getting points? How does your deck prioritize getting points? Some of them are put out resources and then turn those resources into other things. Other ones are just go and explore as many islands as you can, because the more islands you have, you'll get points, or you'll be able to use them better, or you can put out ships easier. So it's
collecting cards.
Yeah, some are all about drawing cards and then using those cards for other stuff. There's one that uses the back of the cards as foundations, and some of those have resources on them. So the amount of different abilities that they have in these different clans is really what keeps bringing me back, because as they just release more clans, it's like, all right, cool, let's go and figure that out. And I'm looking forward to the release of they're coming out with a campaign pack for solo play, where you'll play through a campaign with the different clans. So I'm looking forward to that one. So that is Empires of the North, Imperial Settlers, said that in reverse, from Portal Games. Or Games Portal if I want to keep doing the reversal stuff.
And that is your
Number something.
number 3.
Number 3.
My number 2 game is Arc Nova, which Brad has had as, what number was it?
8.
Number
6
8.
something.
So this
9.
one is 9. So this one is my number 2. And I think what I really like about it, pretty much the same as Brad, I like collecting the cards. I like collecting the animals and trying to figure out how they're going to go in my zoo, and how it's going to go over here, and oh wait, this needs a 3 enclosure, or this one can go with another one, and it doesn't count as an enclosure. But it's really neat and it's really interesting to do that, to see for the animals. And I really, really like the cards because there's a lot of like the animals, and there's so many animals that they have in here, some that I've never heard of.
Secretary bird.
Yes. Here, a stoat. And it tells you where it's from, too. So this one is from, that's, what, it's not Australia, where is it from? Europe?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's from Europe. So, and then there's some that, it's from Australia.
Or the national, so this is Yosemite National Park, so it's in the Americas. So, yeah, they just have so much culture.
Yes. So, but that is my number 2, Ark Nova.
All right, my number 2, again crossing over with Bryde, is Wingspan. Yeah, Hargrave. I don't know why I was adding an E earlier. Elizabeth Hargrave. And I feel they really knocked out of the park with this design. So like Bryce said, it's the engine building game with birds. So it's got that nice relaxing theme. Each card's different. All the fun facts on it, so you're learning as you're playing. And then I really love the engine building aspect. That as you put out the birds, the actions get more powerful as the game goes on. But then there's that push and pull because as you go, you're giving away action cubes on end of round scoring. So you're getting less actions, but the actions are more powerful as you take them later in the game. So it's doing that whole, how's it going to optimize? How am I going to get a good row? Some of them, hey, you need to discard a bird underneath if you want. My personal favorite is always flip over a card. If it's this, you get points. Because I just love the random chaos nature. So, and they try and make the powers really fit into how that bird would be. Like, why is this bird like this? So, a lot of thought went into this game. The production is great, like Stonemaier is known for. And it's just, it's that fun game that you can play with anybody because they can get into the theme even if they don't necessarily understand the mechanisms right away. And it's just, you can easily walk them through how to play it. So, Wingspan, my number 2.
My number 1 all-time favorite game is Mystic Vale. And I don't know why. It is a card deck builder. But I love it because the cards always change. Like, this is huge cards. But
I think what you like is that it's a deck builder, but not in a traditional sense, because this is the card crafting method. So you have the same 20 cards to start, but then you get these transparent overlays that you put in there, and they change all the cards. Yeah, there's so much stuff to sift through.
alright, so here. Oops. So you have these. These are your cards that everybody starts out with. And then you get to put in, like Brad said, these overlays. You just put them in to sleeve them up. Not that one. There we go. And it completely changes the card. So I like it because it's just so much fun and it's so much you can grab all the different overlays and it's yeah. It's one of those things that I really, other than it being a deck builder, but not the traditional deck builder. That's I think my favorite part.
Just optimizing the card builds. Like, I'm going to put this on here because it's going to interact with this and interact with that on the card. It's just, it gives you that fun ability. Like, I played this card and 17 things happened.
Yeah. Plus, it has that little bit of like pressure luck because you have some cards that they have this little dot on here, this red dot. Well, that's spoiled. Well, if you lay out 3 spoils in your line, then you have to wipe your entire line clear. So it's kind of those, okay, well, I have 2 out. Do I want to press my luck and go for more and get more mana? More mana to buy more sleeves, or do I want to stop? And so it's the press your luck, and yeah, I just really, really love this game. So that is my number 1, Mystic Veil.
All right, my number 1 is an old mainstay in many people's, and that is the Steffenfeld classic, Castles of Burgundy. So, dice rolling, check. Or laying out tiles and chaining stuff together, check. It's so much fun. Like I said, just enjoy the dice rolling and just constant dice rolling. Dice rolling and then maximizing your actions again. You know, trying to get the castle, and when you put out the castle, allowing me to do that, let me grab this, which in turn, let me do this. Or I put out the castle, and when I put that out, I put out this building, let me put out another building, so I put out that building. Like I said, just chaining those little things together, building up to get that chain going on. So it's just one of those ones that when I play it, it just hits a feeling in me. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's just like, yeah, I enjoy playing this game. So much so that, yeah, we're getting the Game Found edition. And we will be upgrading to get all of the minis. All of the minis. It's completely not necessary. But why not? If you can have the whole little Castles of Burgundy map whole duchy full of minis, then yeah. So I look forward to that one coming whenever it gets here. But yeah, like I said, it's just the collecting, the selling, the rolling, and just trying to optimize the tiles and get ahead of people so you can get those tiles first. And so my number 1, Castles of Burgundy. So that was our top 13 games of all time. Of course, they flip-flop, as you can see, because we both had Ark Nova that we got this year. Catherine and I got 2 weeks ago and jumped in. So, but Castles has been my favorite for quite a few years. Mystic Veil has been your favorite for at least a couple years, if not more.
Yeah.
So
Now, I know that it looks like my lower favorites are kind of heavier, but you will notice between Brad's and mine, on some of mine, I have a tendency to go more as the casual gamer, as opposed to Brad, who is the more in-depth gamer, I guess you.
a little bit. Bry likes to play more seat of the pants, figure it out as she goes. I like to look ahead, strategize, see, what's this game kind of hiding underneath it? How does this interact with that? And Bry's like, give me stuff to collect and I'll spend it on things. That's kind of more where it is. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much for watching. So.
Do that typical YouTube Primrose stuff. Like, subscribe, comment, ring a bell, share to other people.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.